you want to get me annoyed or unhappy, is just show me the pictures of Warsaw before the war, because we were turned into a parking lot in the Second World War, and we're kind of back in a way, and it's amazing.
So you came back to Warsaw, Poland, and here you are doing projects and everything. And did you notice like something has changed?
Oh, Poland is hell yes. No, it's not like after I came back. It's not far from Warsaw to London, so I would fly back every 3 months, and every 6 months I'd be like, "Holy crap, we have cafes now." It's like, oh, they discovered kombucha.
Yeah. Okay.
It was. I was born here. I'm from Warsaw, 1984, and I remember waiting in line with my grandfather in like 87, 88 to get some fish, for 3 hours in a line, because we were a poor country where people were like maybe not starving, but severely malnourished in the 80s. I even in my family, you have people who were born in early 80s or late 80s, and the people who were born in late 80s are taller. As kids, they just got more proper food. It's been hardcore. So Poland was changing insanely. I have these flashbacks. Like I remember being in Croatia in Zadar 10 years ago, or in Sofia in Bulgaria maybe 6 years ago, and going to like a worst part of town by accident. And I would be like, that's 1991. I remember being in Bishkek in Kyrgyzstan, which is, talk about exotic trip. And I would be like, I understand how this city is built. Because USSR had an idea of how to build a city with parks, and there were some good things. Everything was bad, but there were some good things. And so I felt like this is the frozen in time part. So Warsaw is a different place every 2 years. Like, you need to watch those movies when around Palace of Culture. There was the biggest bazaar in Europe in the 90s.
In Europe?
It was before your time. But you would like the whole area from like Rotunda till Intercontinental would be covered as a bazaar.
Wow.
I need to find some YouTube videos.
Yeah, that would be nice. I know that the stadium had where they built the new stadium.
That was maybe that was the biggest bazaar then, because they tried to clean up the area around the Palace of Culture, and they moved them all to the stadium, it was fun. That was a great place. You would go to the stadium and you would understand what is the next wave of immigration, because initially it was the Vietnamese, then it was Chinese and Nigerians. And you would be like, you would go to the stadium because, you arrive in a country, you have no job. You just go and you're going to be hustling.
I see.
And
interesting.
It was pretty cool. You could see like, oh, this is the next wave. That is coming.
Now, Warsaw is, sometimes when I'm walking, I'm listening to my podcast. I mean, not mine, but others' podcasts, or just listening to music, I cannot help but just smile and say, we live in a great city, like the cleanness.
Even since you came, it changed so much.
Oh, no. I mean, we're not going to go back there because I'm going to start crying. But back then, it was just like, just get out and like feel it's different. It's another timeline, it's another universe. But still, till this day, I think Warsaw is one of the greatest cities in Europe that one can live in.
I'm so happy, to A, to hear it, and B, that it happened, because it was a shithole. It was so beautiful before the war, like you can see that, like if you want to get me annoyed or unhappy, is just show me the pictures of Warsaw before the war. Because we were turned into a parking lot in the Second World War. And we're kind of back in a way, and it's amazing. And you start seeing Warsaw in those rankings of like best cities to live in. And I'm remembering this gray sky from like those coal electric plants, and like no food, and just dull faces. Like 7 restaurants in the whole city.
That's what makes it this powerfully beautiful city, because it's like a phoenix. It came back from. And like for me, especially when the weather is nice outside and you see the parks, and I just love it. It's like the sense of gratefulness, fill my heart, and it's incredible. So anyway, enough throwing flowers to the city of Warsaw. The mayor has to pay to sponsor us, guys.
Let's throw some more. I'm from Warsaw, so I'm very...
Well, for me, if you want to one last flower. One last flower. For me personally, I don't think I would be the man that I am today hadn't I, moved to Warsaw, because I have to go through so much. It was like, in the beginning it was easy, but, thanks to people like you.
Even UK is in a different place. Like and then there are people, right? And I'm from a family where if you say you're going to do this, you are going to do this.
It has to be done.
Like my partner Anya, she's from a family where it's like it's okay to sometimes excuse yourself, like to be late somewhere. Where my family was like completely like no matter what, I remember even in London, I remember I had this presentation for the CEO of this large advertising company. I had 40 degrees fever, and I would be like, and they were like, "Oh my God, you cannot go." I'm like, "No, it's like
here I am."
Like, the meeting is set. What do you mean? So I remember to this. It was so funny. I presented. It went very well, and then I had to sit down for Q&A, and they had air conditioning high in the room. And I had such high fever, I started to like shake, like I couldn't stop it. So I put my hands under my ass and like press myself against this. I'm like, okay, now they cannot see. I'm like,
wow,
shaking.
That's some dedication, my friend.
So it's stupid, and I mean it's great, but it's stupid. And I remember I would agree with a friend I'm going to meet, and then I would show up in a state like this, and they would be like, "Why didn't you cancel?" I'm like, because I told you I'll be here. And they'll be like, dude, it'd be okay to cancel. So I think with time, I kind of grew a little bit more normal.
I see.
But for work, I'm still extremely, like, you deliver, which is probably not great for your health. But for business, you actually, I think it works very well for you because people trust you.
Well, there you have it, guys. If you stayed till the end, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. If you would like to learn more or discover more, you can click right here on this video to enjoy more authentic and honest stories. Thank you so much for your support, and I look forward to seeing you soon.